Akali, or as you might know her, that annoying chick that always seems to get fed somehow and carry the game. G'day, I'm Chuffed, and this is an in-depth tips and tricks guide for Akali, so sit up, take notes, and hopefully it'll help you step up your game. We'll start with Akali's passive, Twin Disciplines. Now if you don't already know Akali's abilities, I'd suggest reading them by pausing on the ability intro screens throughout the video. The bonus damage from Discipline and Force becomes very significant after a few items, so make sure to thread in as many auto attacks as you can during fights. This bonus damage can also affect towers, giving Akali stronger tower pushing than expected. Discipline of Might is active from level 1, so remember to use abilities in lane for the added sustain. AD scaling means that with Gunblade your sustain goes through the roof, to the point where offense can become your best defense. Akali's Q, Mark of the Assassin. With Akali's generally weak early game, your main use of this ability will be last hitting from a safe distance. The actual proc is also very helpful to CS with, especially to guarantee last hitting the cannon minion. If you have lane dominance and don't need the mark to last hit with, make sure you use it to zone out your opponent in lane. When you mark an enemy in teamfights, really try not to switch targets as you'll end up losing way too much damage and energy. As Jax's counter-strike prevents auto attacks, the mark will not be activated. Pantheon's passive will, like usual, block the auto attack, however the mark will still be activated. And the same will happen with Fiora's Riposte. Blind will prevent your auto attack like Jax's counter-strike, and the mark will not be activated. Akali's W, Twilight Shroud. This being your only utility spell, make sure you save it until you really need it. The best time to use it is of course when you're expecting to be focused or traded on in lane. Once you have placed it, pretend you're a hermit crab and treat it as your shell. Try using it to drop minion aggro while trading in lane. This will cause your opponent to take a lot of minion damage while you don't. Don't forget you can use the movement speed it gives you to get onto your opponent quickly and activate Qs in lane for some safe harass. This movement speed combined with a slow is also very effective for chasing, but only do this when you won't be needing your shroud to escape with. The shroud itself gives vision of the area of effect. Use this to your advantage to check and enter brushes safely, as well as using it over walls on neutral minion camps and escaping with your ultimate. I'll get into this more later on in the ult section. Correct placement is important for getting the most out of your shroud. Try using it attached to brushes to increase your range of possible movements. Also try using it on the corners of walls and moving around them. A funny juke you can use is to flash while inside your shroud next to a wall. It will appear as if you flashed over, and hopefully your enemy will follow you. If the center of the shroud is cast inside a brush, the spell effect won't appear to your enemies. This lets you pull off a few neat little tricks. Akali's E, Crescent Slash. As its range is larger than Akali's auto attacks, it can be a good idea to save it to proc a Q from a range you wouldn't have otherwise been able to do. If you're getting pushed under your tower early, try taking this second to help last hit effectively. Remember, although it does physical damage, it still applies spell fan, so try using it in the middle of a wave for some good sustain. Crescent Slash is also your go-to ability for proccing Sheen and Lichbane on cooldown for tower killing. Akali's R, Shadow Dance. Considering how important this ability is, I suggest trying to stay in lane until at least level 6 if possible. Make sure to start looking for roaming opportunities the second you hit level 6. The huge range and multiple stacks allow for very effective and unexpected lane gank opportunities. Etherwisp and Lichbane are good items to complement your roam potential. Generally you want to save your ult charges for when you need to close the gap, basically after every Q cast. However, that being said, if you aren't going to need them to catch your enemy or you're at risk of dying, throw in as many shadow dances as possible for added damage and spell fan. Remember, while at 3 stacks, your ulti doesn't charge anymore, so feel free to use a charge now and then for very effective harass. As the ability is a gap closer, there are many utility uses for it. As mentioned before in the Twilight Shroud section, using a shroud over the wall and ulting to the neutral minions can be very helpful when escaping or chasing. It's worth mentioning that it is possible to ult to Baron from outside the pit, but you have to be in the correct position. You can of course also use a ward over the wall to achieve the same results. Don't forget that you can use it on enemy minions to catch opponents as well as escape from bad situations. Effective ability combos. The core of all Akali play stems from your Q cooldown Q combo. This is when you use your Q on your opponent, wait for the cooldown of your Q to come back up, go in, activate the first Q, straight away use your second Q and activate that, then decide to disengage or stick around. There are many ways to do this, and most of your decision making on Akali will be simply deciding which way to pull off the combo. Before level 6, try using your Q, waiting, then using the movement speed from your Shroud as the gap closer for your combo. If you have kill potential, try using Flash as the gap closer, the instant gap close giving your enemy less time to react. Then of course, once level 6, you can start using your Shadow Dance as the gap closer, leaving all your other abilities free for more optimal use. Don't forget to thread in your Gunblade and Ignite whenever you think you'll need the extra damage or slow. Finally, once you've mastered this combo idea, be ready to get fed, carry games. Here are some more examples of combos and how to go about extended fights, so keep watching. Thanks for watching guys. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, make sure to subscribe for more and comment on who you'd like to see in the next one. Don't forget to go back and check out any of the parts of the guide that you may have missed, and if you haven't seen my previous guide on Aatrox, click here to go check it out. Finally, if you're interested in runes and masteries and such, I've linked a good guide for them in the description, as I don't have too much interest in making videos about them. Cheers!